Okay, the end of Q95. All right. All right, folks, thank you so much for coming. As part, I'm not ready yet. Oh, thank you so much for coming. As part of our extensive list of activities for this week, this one is really, really important. They all were, but this one is particularly important. One thing, first of all, we're going to recap what has happened this week. And we've been, just FYI, we've been getting a lot of good compliments. Well, I don't want to say compliments, but good feedback. Good feedback, compliments a little too gratuitous, but good feedback on what has gone on this week. And, the number of people who have been able to come together, share stories. Ray just reminded me that I was part of his team when I was in 101. So, I think I may have missed it, but I wasn't prominent at that time. I was just coming on. There were people who were ahead of me who were much better than me at the time. But so we want to recap what happened this week. But most importantly is for the launch of the book, Legacy in Action, how one man has transformed a generation of men. And the gentleman the gentleman is Dr. Egbert Germain. And this book was written by Mr. Tony John Baptist, who's also up on the panel. At this time, I would like to call on Mr. Thomas to give a few words, and you have 2 minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremony. Let me say a pleasant good morning. Well, actually, it's almost afternoon, almost midnight. I do want, on behalf of the committee, to apologize for the late start. But however, we're here, and I'm very grateful that all of you were able to make it. I want in a special way to say a pleasant good afternoon to Brother Egbert Germain. And as our good friend there, the Master of Ceremony, Joseph Tutigis, has said, we all know what Brother Germain's contribution has been to, I wouldn't even put it restricted to SMA, but to education in broad terms in Dominica. Activism, and you name it. And therefore, like Tuti, I'm indeed excited and pleased to be a part of what's taking place here this afternoon. I also, in a special way, want to say welcome to Mr. Tony John Baptist from the class of, I think it's 1985. Yeah, he's rather young compared to 74, 75. But however, welcome, Tony. Tony himself is very much involved with the development of SMA. And in a special way, our principal, Mrs. Sylvia John Baptist. I know we have really given her a lot to handle for the past few days, because in addition to collaborating with us on all of these activities, she still has a responsibility to manage a school and her staff and students. And just yesterday, for example, I spoke with a group of 4-H club students. Actually, there were almost about 100 in the room, because they were from each form, first form, second form, third, fourth, and fifth. And after the session, I say, wow, boy, I wouldn't want to be a teacher, boy, because you had these 100 young men in the room and, chattering, and the teacher is trying to, so Francis is trying to tell them, okay. I say, wow. But anyhow, guys, we had what I would think was a successful week. It started off, as we all know, those of you who were there and those who were able to view via the social media platforms. We had our great Thanksgiving Mass, which I think went very well with our old boy alumni, Father Nigel Karam. And that, of course, was followed by what we had that Monday evening, which I think was even exceptional. Having heard the feature address coming from our former teacher, Mr. Ray Harris, I mean, that was profound and deep. And of course, it continues with our island tour. And then Wednesday, we had that panel discussion. That too was aired live on practically all the various social media platforms, including Q95, Kyrie, DBS, TDN Radio, and the contributions, I'm sure, was again something which I think we all will agree went very well. It is our hope that I think one of the presenter, Dr. Swinburne Augustine, has already put together a summary of the entire proceeding, and that we hope we'll be able to share with the school and, of course, with the various personnel in the Ministries of Education. And the Thursday morning, we had this very great assembly, special assembly at the school, and that too was carried live. And at this point, I really want to say a really big thank you to DNO, who have been carrying all of the events from start to now live. So I really want to say thank you to DNO and to Q95 as well, MO News and DBS, all the various social media platforms. Because what that does, Kyrie FM, what that does, it enables all the old boys who were not able to make it to this reunion to see what's happening in real time. And that's the beauty of social media and where we are today. So I really want to say thanks to all of you, social media institutions and persons who have assisted us. So Thursday evening, we had a pretty nice reggae on the Broadwalk. It was really nice. We had some of the old guys who were able to stay up till 2. Some left earlier. You know, some of this 74, 75 guys don't have the stamina. So I won't call names now, but there were some who came and say, Alvin, I have to leave. I say, really? I looked at my watch and I see it was whatever. Now it's not even 11 o'clock yet and they're leaving. But the younger ones, like, you know, myself and others, we stayed up the wee hours of the morning. But it was good. Labadee, we were recognized at that event. It went really, really nice. And this morning, here we are at this press conference and the important launch of the book. And hopefully, this evening at 6:30, we'll be having really, really, really the I wouldn't say the highlight, but the crown jewel of the Old Boys concert. And some of you have heard the names already. I mean, we couldn't really put all the entertainers and the artists that have gone through SMA on that list, because we would require 2 nights for that show. We require 3 nights, like the World Creole Music Festival. But we're having this evening, and I'm sure it's going to be really, really, really a fun time. So I'm looking forward to that. So I just want to end by saying, though, that some of you might be saying, well, what's next? We had this reunion, we had this success, what next? And my answer to that, we hope that that is a catalyst, that this reunion serves as a catalyst to get alumni and old boys, SMA, across the globe to become more engaged in the alma mater. As was pointed out at the educational forum that we had on Thursday evening, education cannot be left solely to the responsibility of government or even the school and say, well, oh, this is the Mrs. John Baptist and the staff principal responsibility, or it's the government. Education has to be all embracing. And that is why I would hope that all SMA alumni listening this morning, who have listened over the last 4 or 5 days we've had these activities, will become more engaged in their school, will contribute. And there are several ways in which you can contribute. You can contribute your time, your resources, whatever you have. And I can speak for the principal that she's open to getting that support that is needed. Those of you who have been around, just walk past and you look at the school. You could see the louvers, you could see the needs. So I'm hoping that out of that, will become more engaged. And finally, I just want to say thank you to all the sponsors. I don't want to go through that list. It's a rather long list, but the sponsors, you're hearing us. We want to say a big thank you to all of you, every one of you who have helped to make this thing a success. Your contribution, invaluable contribution, we really appreciate. Thank you.
Thanks, Alvin. Oh, Sober's going to be mad at you. You didn't outline the sponsors. There are two things that stuck with me over this week so far. One is disheartening, and the other one is enlightening. The first one is the fact that only 20% of male students end up in university. Roughly 20%, sometimes lower than that. That is disturbing. That is really, really, really disturbing. So that educational forum that we had, I think, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to use the resource. So I know the Mr. Swinburne was saying that this thing is not free. I understand it's not free, but if the curriculum is already built, the teacher has been already, selected, and for example, in Mexico, Pfizer sells their products maybe about 20% of what they charge in the US. So there's a precedent for that already, for discounting, whatever, So there's got to be a way, some way to get this, Iona University or the Ohio University that Mr. Augustine is from too. I know he's already hinted towards that, and UWI. I know UWI. That might be. I don't know. We'll figure out how we address it, but I think it's important that. So kids come from high school and they should go straight to college. What's that in between? We were excited that 2 people went. We have to be disheartened that 2 people didn't go. Everybody else went. So maybe our paradigm is different. The second thing is when Ray said, "You gotta love your enemies." Oh, that's tough. That's tough. But you're not doing them a favor by it necessarily, because if you bring that love out, it's harder to go after somebody who's showing you love all the time. Even when you're throwing darts at them, it's harder to do it. So that's a lesson that I've listened, Ray, but I have to incorporate it now. That one's gonna be a little challenge, but thank you for that message. I appreciate it. All right, let's move on. So now we'll call on Mr. Tony John Baptist, the author of the book, to give us an overview of legacy in action.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Lady and gentlemen, because I see we just want to acknowledge, esteemed alumni, Brother Egbert Germain, Principal of SME, Sylvia John Baptist, the co-founder of this foundation, which I think when I heard about the foundation, I was elated. I was excited about the investment of time and where is that energy coming from? What is driving the creation of a foundation to support a school? And I ask myself the question, what role can I play in this? And in my 57 years of living on this earth, the most successful things in my life came from, not from what I intended and set out to do, but sometimes the things that were dropped in my lap from a divine perspective. And I use the word divine. Legacy in action. This concept came from a simple gathering at my brother's residence for Carnival, where we were having something to eat. We were having our Carnival brunch, and Brother Germain was invited. I traveled from Canada, and I met Brother Germain, and we were talking, and next thing you know, we all started singing the alma mater. All the brothers, my brothers, and another student from SMA was there, and we burst out singing the alma mater. And the principal of SMA at the time was there. She took off the video of us singing it, and then she posted it on Facebook. And before you knew it, calls started coming in, people started responding. And one of the persons who called was Alvin, and he wanted to speak to Brother Germain. And then Alvin is telling me about the work that he is doing and the foundation that they have created. And I stopped for a moment and I'm like, this needs to be captured. So a carnival, a 3 weeks holiday turned into a labor of love. And we set out, Brother Germain and I started meeting on a regular basis, and we started the interviews and we started putting this book together. But all what I wrote and I planned to say, I just put it aside because I'm listening to 20% of our men, young men, get enrolled in college. And the situation that we are seeing in Dominica, it is not just confined to Dominica, but also I work with youth in a Canadian perspective in Canada, and also extending to North America, also to the US. And we have a crisis, a critical crisis. And that crisis that we have with our young men, something needs to be done. So the whole concept of writing this book highlights Brother Germain's leadership qualities that he displayed over his tenure as the principal of SMA, and how he worked collaboratively with his team of staff, the brothers and the other staff, and some of the teachers who taught us who are present here today. They inculcated within us a level of discipline, integrity, and somehow we needed, I wanted to take that and to bring it, to revitalize it and to bring it back and to tell the story of what SMA, the impact that it has had on our lives. But in telling the impact, I think one of the things that, again, the moderator said, and I want to make reference to it, we may have schools, we may have all the resources out there, and what we see sometimes, the young people are not motivated to get engaged with them. So the issue goes beyond having the resources. It is an attitudinal issue that we are dealing with right now. And the question is, how can we revitalize the principles that we receive as students of SMA? How can we revitalize it? And in the book, what we have done, we have done within the book, and I say we, because I collaborated with Alvin, collaborated with several individuals, with Brother Germain, Alvin, with the principal of SMA, and we were having discussions, and all of those discussions were wrapped into the product that we have today. And one of the things I wanted to say about the end product is that we wanted to go back to the basic unit of society, of how society is built, and that is the longest institution, which is the family. Despite the financial constraints or whatever we are facing in life, within the family, we can still instill certain values at home. So the book is written in such a way where all the leadership qualities are directed to how the parents can introduce that within the home, how the children or the siblings at home and the children at home, how they can implement them in school, and then for the adults, the elders, the grandparents, how they can reinforce some of the principles within the home, in the way they tell their stories, in the way that they share their stories. And one of the things that we are experiencing globally is a leadership crisis. We have a global leadership crisis. And that global leadership crisis can be addressed again, by starting within the home. Brothers, Germain's leadership qualities, his dedication, his integrity, the discipline that he instilled in us, this can be reintroduced if, one, the teachers, parents, community leaders start taking an innovative approach to look at one difference I can make in each day. The book is designed in such a way where individuals have a work section where you can reflect on each leadership quality, and then a section where you can write your action points. And we are hoping that in the second wave of our campaign, that the action points that individuals have decided to take, maybe within the home, within the community, within the school, can be posted. And we want to, in 1 year, starting in January, and that's the next campaign we are going to work on, to have 1 million actions posted on Facebook. So we are creating a special Facebook page to take that legacy and to really make it into a call of action in our community and in our society. So I want you to look forward to that. In closing, I want to take the opportunity to thank all those who have supported the production of this book. Brother Germain, Alvin Thomas, Sylvia. I want to thank, in addition, my family, my parents, my dad, who was one of the first head boys of SMA. He also participated through, listening and giving me feedback as I was writing. So my parents, I just want to give a special call out and special thanks for their support. My brothers, in terms of they encouraging me to continue to write. I want to say that this is the beginning of a transformation that can take place in our school and in our society. My hope is that, and that is one of the things that I'm working on, to see if I can get a sponsor so that we can supply enough copies so that the students of SMA can have access to it, and that it can become a tool that they use within the school to further transform and to continue to build the legacy of what Brother Egbert Germain has started with his team, and what the Christian brothers and all the other teachers have contributed over the years to make us into who we are today. It is an honor to be here today, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for participating. I just want to say that I'm really sorry that we haven't got any copies of the book here, because my luggage actually stayed behind. So I'm hoping that very soon, maybe between today and tomorrow, I will have some copies available. We will also be broadcasting and sending out the link where you can get it. It is on Amazon at this present moment. And the cost, the e-copy is $8, well, $7.99. US, yes. And thank you very much. Yeah, US. And the paperback copy is $16.99, and the hard copy is $39.99. Our hope is that with some of the resources that we generated from this, from the sale of the book, will also be contributed towards SMA. And I'll leave that for Alvin, because later on we will be actually formalizing the agreement for this. So thank you very much, and I want to pass it over back to the moderator.
All right, thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. So, that education forum is in my mind. I haven't been able to let go of it. So Mr. Williams made a suggestion that we have to align education to the economic needs of the country. So, of course, we have to start with policies. That's beyond, we don't deal with that really. But we have to try to understand, like geothermal, he mentioned geothermal. Maybe there's some aspect of training that And he was talking about a modular aspect of it. It doesn't have to be a 4-year degree necessarily, but skilled enough for someone to work in the geothermal plant. Now we're going to have an airport, an international airport. We're going to need, what do they call them? Air traffic controllers, things like that, mechanics, from this planes are flying from the US, even there's this brother-in-law or son-in-law of mine. He works for a company who they maintain airplanes. So they do minor repairs, but if something is major, they will either ground it or they send it back to the US and recommend that they do something there. So even if it's not a huge plant that we have to do major repairs, maybe eventually, but something where we can, do the minor repairs, and that's an industry that just, that's just evolves because of this. So I think that really touched me when he was talking about the education being geared towards the need of the country. So, okay, that's my 2 cents. Okay, so we move to the next stage now, where we ask on Brother Germain, the keynote speaker, to share some thoughts with us.
SMA, St. Mary's Academy, solid man of action. Solid man of action. I'm not a man of many, many words, but I'd like to tell you something that has grown up in me and with me. Many, many years ago, I attended the Rosa Boys School at Newtown. There was a teacher or a head teacher called Mr. Egbert Lawrence, who recited a little poem to us that I memorized. And I would like to recite that little poem to you right now. It's about time. I have a precious little minute, only 60 seconds in it. Didn't choose it, forced upon me, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. Just this tiny little minute. Eternity is in it. And this has been my philosophy, to make good use of the little minutes. And so, for example, if we can build a house in 6 months, why should we take 2 years building the same house? And if I can convey a few thoughts to you in a few words, why should I spend hours? And if I continue to do that, I'd put you to sleep anyway. I think it's really, really very nice to be here today with you, alumni, with the President Principal of St. Mary's Academy, with also Alvin, who has organized this thing. I really appreciate, and I'm so very happy that something like that has taken root. With Tony, the author of this book, I really don't know if I deserved all those things. But let me say this. God works in mysterious ways. I never thought I would have been here today to be even talking about a book written about me at this time. I never thought I would have even been probably principal of St. Mary's Academy. But in the 70s, you will remember there were problems at the school. In the 70s, I was teaching at Iona in New Rochelle, New York. And of course, because of the problems, the school almost closed. Father Felix was good enough to become the interim principal for about 3 years. But after 3 years, he said he had had enough. And so I was asked if I would come down to Dominica as principal. If probably these things did not happen, the turbulence of the 70s, I probably would not have been the principal. I probably would not have been in Dominica as a teacher and principal. I accepted. And I can remember Father Felix saying to me, because I addressed the students before the school closed, and he says, my brother, you're going to have a hard time because, they're still, And I can remember speaking to the students, saying just a few words to them and saying, when I start with you in a few months' time, things are going to be different. And of course, we like to use the word Bougonais, boost you with your students, Bougonais, what Mr. Think me, and everything like that. But I came back to Dominica. And in the interest of the time, I tried to do as much as possible. I don't know how long I was going to be there in Dominica. So I tried to do as much as possible in the little time that I had. And I never thought I would have been at St. Mary's Academy for 9 years as principal. I never thought I would have done the things that we did and brought back the school to the point of, at the time, being probably the best school in Dominica, best secondary school in Dominica. And then I left, and I didn't leave, I was transferred. I returned to the United States. And there I was for 6 years teaching again in the United States. Brother Wakeham became the principal in my absence. After 6 years, I was asked if I would like to return to Dominica as principal, and I accepted. And of course, in that time, we had Hurricane David, 79, and we had real problems. Dominica, the students in Dominica, especially the primary schools, were walking about on the street and everything like that. The brothers wanted to have another secondary school. And I can remember having a meeting with Bishop Bogart, and of course, the head of the brothers. He was the brother provincial. And I suggested that, another secondary school in Roseau, I think it would be more practical to have a primary school. And of course, we discussed with the Prime Minister, Ms. Charles, and she told us, of course, sure, and wait, she could give us land in Baffin State to do that. And I insisted, no, not Baffin State. That was too far. The school should be closer to SMA so that the brothers could keep an eye and see how things are going. And we got that land, and so we built St. Mary's Primary. And then later on, people, because the school had developed so well, the academy, people were flocking in, and we had no space to put students. And so we had 3, I call them cubicles in the yard. And that was not good enough. I decided, well, look, we're going to have to do something, the 3 cubicles. So we have to do, another building. And this resulted in the present SMA new wing, the Brother Germain new wing. So God works in mysterious ways. I never thought those things would have happened, but indeed they happened. And here I am now being part of a book that has been written about me and what I've done. I don't know if I don't feel that I deserve all those things, but it's left to you all to decide. And as I said, I'm a man of very few words. I will leave it at that. And at the book, whatever the book says about me, it's left to you to decide whether these things are authentic or inauthentic. If you have any questions, I will probably take them. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Germain. Well, we get to write the history, right? We get to write the history. So 2 things. I've seen Brother Germain smile more this week than I saw him when he was at principal. Shh. All right, let's move on. It's your turn. Principal Sylvia, Madam Principal, I say, Sylvia John Baptist.
Greetings, distinguished members of the media. Brother Egbert Germain, past principal of St. Mary's Academy, mentor to many. Mr. Alvin Thomas, chairman of the SMA Alumni Infrastructure and Development Fund. Mr. Volney, that famous history teacher. SMA alumni, special guests, friends and supporters. I bring you warm and fraternal greetings from St. Mary's Academy. School is still on. And I wish to also let you know that we are deeply grateful for your presence here to share with the public the purpose, vision, and plans surrounding our activities in celebration of this remarkable 50 years. 50 years have passed since these young men walked through the doors of St. Mary's Academy. Young men filled with dreams and determination. Today, they stand together not only to commemorate that journey, but to reaffirm the values instilled in them by this noble institution. Values of discipline, service, integrity, and faith. This media conference serves as a platform to highlight the collective efforts to give back to their school, their community, and to the younger generation who continue to benefit from the foundation laid by those who came before. It is also an opportunity to acknowledge the educators like Mr. Volney and Brother Germain and Mr. Harris, the mentors, and the Christian brothers who helped to shape their paths and whose legacy continues to guide them. As we look at the events of this 50th anniversary celebration, we do so with gratitude to God and purpose. We hope to inspire renewed engagement among alumni and to demonstrate how the spirit of St. Mary's Academy continues to live on. Strong, compassionate, and committed to the betterment of Dominica and the wider world. On behalf of the St. Mary's community, the St. Mary's Academy community, and the class of 1974-1975, I extend sincere thanks to the media for your continued support and partnership in sharing the story of SMA. Together, we celebrate the past achievements, the blessings of the present, and look with hope to the bright future which we continue to build as proud sons of St. Mary's Academy. I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Madam Principal. Appreciate it. I must say, I do have a little anxiety though. Here's my little concern. So, I think one of the Wednesday night event, the educational forum, I think the ideas from that forum, it can't just be archived, you know? We have to find a way to put it in the hands in a curated way of people who can make decisions. Even sit with them and talk to them about it. This is completely apolitical. This deals with getting our kids educated to a point where they can sustain any development, you know, in the island. You know, I know when I went to the US to study, even if I said that the last time that I probably wasn't the best student, but, you know, for osmosis, I keep using that word, I didn't realize how prepared I was for this. You know, so even people who are not the top in the class are able to function well, you know, and be productive. You know what I mean? So I don't know, Sobers. You know, I have that anxiety. I don't want to leave here without us at least having an idea of how well, the information is already summarized. We just have to curate it, and we have to. Okay, all right. Let me get off my soapbox. So now we're at the point where we want to deal with the MOU. The MOU is a memorandum of understanding between Mr. Baptiste and the Mr. John Baptiste, and the infrastructure. What you call yourself again? Infrastructure. Where is it? Oh, St. Mary's Academy Alumni Infrastructure and Development Fund. So the memorandum of understanding establishes a partnership between Tony John Baptiste, the author of the book entitled Legacy of Action: How One Man Transformed a Generation. And Brother Germain, we get to write the history, so thank you. The purpose of this MOU is to formalize the offer's commitment to contribute a percentage, 20% in that case, I think that's what you guys have agreed on, from the proceeds of the book towards advancing the infrastructure and development priorities of St. Mary's Academy, thereby honoring the legacy of Brother Egbert Germain. So, you guys want to come up? You're going to sign it where people can see, no? Yeah. You have the document?
Yeah.
What you need? Oh, this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, we have to, all right, this signing is taking place, folks. This is a historic moment. My God, Alvin, that's a huge signature. But you're left-handed. You know, before Trump, the last 3 presidents were left-handed, you know. Can you guys display it too? Once it's signed, please display it so the cameras can see. All right. All right. Give them a round of applause, folks. As we're talking about funds, someone in here has made a contribution to the infrastructure fund. He is extremely humble. We were trying to bring him up here, but he asked that, just make mention, and, that's the nature of the man. Let's congratulate Mr. Ray Harris for making a $1,000 contribution to the infrastructure fund. I think we all can learn from his humility, especially this one. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we've reached the question section. So if you guys have any questions, and does anyone have any questions about whether it's what's going on this week, how we can catapult what we're doing this week into something effective? I don't know how we get into policy, but that's a process, I guess. But maybe I'll ask the first question. Mr. Chairman, how do we translate what the information that we've gotten this week, especially from the Education Forum, to something that could eventually be, adopted in some capacity?
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Moderator, for that question. I think it's a very, it's a great question. And the first thing, of course, after the dust have settled from this week's activity, is for us as the planning committee to come together and have some sort of discussions in terms of what went well, what could have gone a little better, what didn't go too well. And one of the areas, of course, we're going to have to discuss is the whole question of this educational forum. Because like you, I believe quite a bit came out of that forum. I mean, every one of the presenters, Dr. LaRock, Dr. Augustine, Dr. Tavernier, Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Severin. I mean, this and what is so remarkable about this thing, each one of them are SMA Old Boys alumni, every one of them, as well as Mrs. Dr. LaRock taught us at SMA. She was a former teacher at SMA. So here you had a room of SMA alumni in their expertise, their own rights. I mean, Dr. Swinburne, Augustine was a scientist with the EPA in the US. SMA we're talking about. The manufacturing, you said, Brother Germain? Sons of Men of Action. So absolutely we have to do that. And what was even more disheartening was when Dr. Hemon Joseph, head of the UE Global School of Global Studies or Center, made that revelation in terms of the number of men that are entering the university or graduating or taking on further, studies. I mean, this is mind-boggling. So we have our work cut out for us. Those of us who have gone through SMA and is now in whatever respective fields that we are, bearing in mind that the St. Mary's Academy is the only all-boys school on the island. The St. Mary's Academy is the only all-boys school on the island. As we speak, the school population stands at about 330. There are about 330 young men. And just step back for a moment and visualize in your mind, what is the future of the 330 young men going to look like 5 years from now when they complete their 5-year secondary education at St. Mary's? And what role are they going to take in society? How are they going to contribute towards the development of Dominica and the rest of the globe? And what responsibility that we have, those of us who have walked that road and who happen to be in positions of success, influence, ability, whatever it is. And whenever I make an appeal to SMA alumni across the globe, and sometimes I get a little pushback, well, I say, look, whatever little that you can do, each of us in our little way can contribute to the overall good and the development of the school. So I believe that information that we got, that knowledge that we got, we on Thursday, on Wednesday evening, we were literally in a university. We were literally in a university learning, getting knowledge, getting information. We have to take that information now, as you rightly said, put it in a manner, and if we're not invited to the table, we have to find a way to get a seat at the table. We can't sit back and say, well, there's no room for it. Yeah, we got to find a way and find a chair and sit at the table and say, hey, this is what we are suggesting. This is the conversation we need to have about the future of education, and in particular, our young men. Our young men. We see what's happening with our young men in Dominica when we walk around. Brilliant young men sometimes graduate from SMA, and a year, 2 years later, you see them in some situations and doing stuff that you say to yourself, oh my God, wasn't this bright young man that went to SMA. We have that responsibility. There's no ifs or buts about it. And it is my hope that through the foundation, that as I indicated at previous gatherings that we've had during the week, we have registered in the United States of America a St. Mary's Academy Alumni Infrastructural and Development Fund Incorporated. That's a registered organization in the US. And the goal and the objective is to continue to lobby and to find a way to raise funds for the development of the school. It is a 501(c) registered foundation organization in the US. And basically what that is that corporations, individuals who make donations to the funds can get tax rebates through the IRS. Similarly, we have established a foundation in Dominica, a sort of sister organization. So we have already received the approval of the minister to register a foundation in Dominica called the St. Mary's Academy Alumni Infrastructural Development Foundation. The reason why the word fund, unlike in the US, is not in the one in Dominica is because we can't put the word fund in Dominica because it would be, it's not a financial institution. There's certain requirements for that. But a foundation is also be registered in Dominica. Again, the reason for that is that we can collaborate between the US and Dominica and be in a position where funds can be made, solicited, and representation can be made, all aimed towards the development of the school. The immediate concern that we have when all of this started was the roof of the Brother Egbert Germain wing that needs replacement. And the last estimates we got was somewhere in the region of $480,000 EC dollars. And although sometimes when folks hear that amount in their minds, they sort of cringe. But if you do the maths, like I always do for them, I said if one alumni in the diaspora make a donation, an annual donation of 360 US dollars for the year, 360. If we have 500 alumni making that contribution, we can raise 180,000 US dollars. 500 SMA alumni in the diaspora, each one making a donation of 360 US dollars will allow us to raise 180,000 US dollars, which is equivalent to about a little over 400,000 EC dollars. So it's not rocket science. Okay? And you will have some alumni that will give more than 360. I had one alumni just recently who, from our class, who donated 2,000 US dollars. We had another alumni who gave 2,500 US dollars. So if we put the structure in place, we're able to do that. But to answer your question again, yes, we need to take that information, put it together, and I think we all have a responsibility to do that.
Thank you very much, Alvin. So here's what I'm thinking. You know, sometimes, like, for example, there's a city in Beijing that's a sister city to a city in Los Angeles. So, I mean, can't we use that format, maybe? Twinning. All right, you gave it a name. That is the names of us? You did tell me that. Yeah, but you see, I deal with concepts, not particular names. So, but you know that. So, why can't we, Iona College or that Ohio University, I mean, what kind of lobbying do we have to do to get them to have a sister high school? I mean, that seems like a very noble thing, something that they could, you know, first of all, they would get deductions for it, for any contributions that they make to the school. We can move kids from high school into a system where they can, even if we're talking about, what do you call it, micro-modeled programs where it's not just, it doesn't have to be a whole degree once we establish what the needs are. I'm a little passionate about this. Anyway, any other questions? Yes, go ahead. Actually, I got some.
Good afternoon. My question is for Mr. Chairman. I think I have two questions. One, not oh heaven, not oh Lord. Number one is how can we? Do you have the information where we can access the account in the U.S.? Are you going to finish that through? Yes. Okay. Don't make sure you don't forget my name. Okay. Okay. What? We can't forget it. Oh. You know how AI works. I mean, maybe it's going to be deleted by the time you get to me. And number two is there going to be another reunion like this? Because as you know, I don't know when I'm going to see another one, and especially the people who missed it. You know, I told them, you missed it, you blame yourself, don't blame me. Thank you.
Interestingly enough, when we first had the idea, he goes, "You guys sure you can organize this? You know what I'm saying?" Yes. Then he came to an event that we had in Atlanta, old school jam event during Memorial Weekend. And I think that convinced him that there's some capacity to organize. So here he is today. Thank you for coming.
Yes, that's a good question, Robert. Thanks for that question. Yes, he came to Tutti and myself, Joe, and two other Dominicans. Over the last 5-6 years, we've put together a group, and we organized during Atlanta's Carnival, which is around the Memorial Weekend. We have an old school jam, really nice event, all inclusive. You come, you pay one price, and you drink all night, you eat all night, you party all night. And he came to it this past one that we had, Robert, and he had a ball, I'm telling you. He went back and he said, "Look, I'm coming back next year and the year after and the year after and the year after." And he really enjoyed himself. As a matter of fact, he's one of those persons promoting the event for us. So he did say, "Well, I hope this reunion is going to be like this jam. I think it's going to be even better." So did we deliver? Okay. But the question to whether we have an account, yes. In the US, we have an account established with Bank of America. Because with the US and the IRS, I mean, these things have to be done you live in the US. And but yes, we have an account with Bank of America, and we have various methods in which you can contribute either via Zelle, PayPal, Venmo, you name it. All of that is there. The IT guy at the SMA, Walter Greenaway, we have a website. If you go on the school website, it shows you, directs you how you could make donation. And Miguel Murphy, who is one of the guys on the foundation that we have in the US. We have a board of directors and we have a much brighter committee. Miguel is the social media guy there. I'm sure he's listening right now. And any information that's needed to drive that, we're able to do that. One of the things I think, one of the challenges that we've had over the years, I think prior to all of this taking shape, is a database. You have to be able to build a database. And that's one of the challenges because we're all over the place. And how do you create a database, use that database where you can reach out to alumni wherever they are. But yes, and in Dominica as well, we do have an account with the National Bank of Dominica. That account is linked to the Dominica Foundation. So yes, we do have an account as well. And so if someone wants to make a donation or contribution, they can do that again as well via Mo Banking, or they could make direct deposit to the account. They could reach out to the principal. So there are several mechanisms and arrangements in place to facilitate that. So yes, that is in place. Now, your second question was, are we going to have another reunion like that? And that's a question that's been raised. As you know, some of the old boys who were not able to attend, they feel a little, boy, you mean that's what I miss? That too is something we will discuss as a committee in terms of if and when and what time frame. As you know, the school, this year the school is 93 years old as an institution, 93. Established on the 4th of April, 1932, with 14 boys, Brother Germain? 13 boys. And the headmaster then was S.J. Lewis. S.J. Lewis, who is the father of Ozzy Lewis. 13 boys, 93 years later, and we've never had an alumni reunion. Don't ask me what's the reason. It's not an easy job. It's something that takes a lot of planning. So this is the first that we've had of an alumni reunion. 7 years down the road, we will be celebrating 100 years. 7 years from now, the school will be 100 years. And if we are still around, those of us who are still around, I would really like to see something grand and huge for that 100 years. And it's not too early to start some of the planning, because this thing takes a lot of planning, the logistics of it. So it's kind of down the road. I do know, of course, my friend, I guess I can disclose him on air, Matt Peltier, who is an SMA old boy, at the special assembly we had yesterday. I mean, boy, some of my guys are calling, and saying they need to do their reunion next year, because next year they'll be 40 years. So they want to talking about now of wanting to do a reunion. And I will encourage it. If there are the years that feel they want to celebrate 40 years, 30 years, that kind of thing, I think it's a good thing. Because again, as I said earlier, the intention really is to be able to re-energize, to re-engage, for us to get re-engaged, re-energized in our alma mater. One of the things that is very prevalent in the US is what you call endowment. A lot of the universities in the US are supported by philanthropy and endowment. You find this guy who has, a good wallet will say, I'm going to give Harvard $5 million, or I'm going to give this university $6 million. And you have old boys who go back and they do what they need to do and say, I'm going to give back to my university or my school X amount. I think the same thing can be done with SMA. Okay? And the last thing I'll just say, and I'll shut up because I know he's gonna give me a demerit or detention, is that we are in conversation now with an institute called the XQ Institute. You can look it up yourself. X as in xylophone, Q as in Queen Institute. And we've had a conversation with them already, and we're hoping to have a second one at the end of this month, the 28th. And they're involved in, how should I say it, a new approach towards learning. They've just partnered with the government of Barbados. Mia Motley got them to build an innovative hub, they call it, in Barbados. And again, it's along the lines of what some of the comments made by Dr. LaRocque and the other presenters. How do we look at education? In other words, the classroom setting we have now is row after row after row. And you have a student sitting maybe in the 12th or the 20th row at the back. And is that the type of configuration we need for classrooms now? Or should we have, as Dr. LaRocque suggested, collaborative approach? So you have cells. You have students sitting maybe 10 in a circle, 10, another 10, or another 12, and then a collaborative approach now into learning, as against sitting. But again, these are ideas that have to be explored. Is it feasible? Can it work? So here you have more creativity and more collaborative work. Can you imagine if 12 students sitting around a table? There's going to be more discussion, as against I'm sitting in this front row and this other student is sitting all the way in row number 15 or 20. So all of these situations that have to be explored and looked into. But on the 20th of this month, we're having our second round of conversation with that institute. And our intention really is to engage them in looking at the entire campus, the academia campus. And when I say entire campus, we're including SMP. So how do we reform that entire campus that's in Mary's Academy campus so that 7 years, 5 years from now, when you walk in there, as those of you who are familiar with campuses in the US, you can say, hey, this is St. Mary's Academy campus, and these are the various cells, and these are what we do, and this is how we function there. Part of it too, that the buildings, the facilities will be operational pretty much as long as possible, that at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, the building is not shut down. But the students can come back there even in the evening and do certain projects, do certain works, do arts, the liberal arts, music, sports, whatever. So that is the big idea we are looking at. And as I say, I'm hoping that this conversation with XQ at the end of the month can lead us to even better conversation moving forward.
Yes. You?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to add to the conversation, to deepen the conversation, because just Monday night on the forum, another forum, there was a night of reflection. There are a couple of things came out which emerged from that conversation. So a couple of things. One is that we have to create an institution, an organization that can really bring all alumni together. So we can't be too US-centric, because there are models and systems in the US that are very different from us and from ours that we have to bear in mind. That's one thing. Secondly, we want to ensure the engagement of alumni in Dominica. Folks, not many of us here. I mean, I want to be brutally frank and honest. You know, if this is going to take shape and to be a movement, we need to get the alumni based in Dominica to play a bigger role, to be more engaged. So we applaud the work done by our colleagues in the US, Alvin, Tuti, Joe, yeah, Eric, Peter, but we want to see more people here, more, because we have a lot of people here. So come forward and get involved. So as I said on Monday night, here's the things that we want to do. One, so what's the foundation model? Maybe something that you're working on, but we have to relook that model to see if it's fit for purpose for us. Bearing in mind what I just said. So I was saying, one, to create an institution that allows for the participation of everybody. That's one. Two, the creation of databases to ensure that we cover everyone. That is going to be a work in progress, or a work. We create some challenges, but it's easy because we have scientists and we have IT specialists who can help do that. So databases is really critical because we don't even know what the guys who went to school in 1970. That's 50 years ago, 55 years ago. Models for the guys who went to school in 1935. So we have to do a better job on that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the program. Guys, that is going to ensure the involvement of people. So we have to ensure that the activities and the programs that we develop are what people want to see happen. So we can't force things on people. So part of it may be an assessment. Talk to the people, talk to other alumni. So maybe a survey, something to say, we are developing this foundation or this alumni organization. What would you like to see happen? Where can you contribute? And we use that information to create a program, a platform of action going forward, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And you identify some of them. So from the forum on Wednesday night, we talked about the physical issue, physical plant issue, so climate smart facilities, IT, or digitally connected, support for students and teacher emotional development. Kelvin Roll was very strong on that, very passionate on that. And so what kind of program we can, in fact, help to engender going forward. So maybe short courses, bringing specialists from outside, our specialists from inside. So identify where the specialists, where the gaps are, and identify the specialists who can deliver in these programs. Okay, so I say climate smart, IT, the programs, and then the social things now. What he's talking about, more reunions, more social gatherings and connections, because we have to do that. We have to do that, get together more often. And the other thing is, let us profile the high achievers from the SMA. Alvin, the booklet talk about some island scholars. These are only a few of the people who became island scholars. I didn't see Hendrix Paul there. I didn't see Swinburne Lestrade and people like that. Nichols, and there are several. We have to celebrate these people, both here and globally. So these are some of the things that we can do. We must do. Okay? So I just want to say that I believe this is a first step. This is an important first step, but we have a lot of work to do if we want to connect with the school and the school connect with us. So as I said again on Monday night, we have to see a bigger effort between the two parties. The school must recognize that in Dominica, we have people at all levels who can contribute to this engagement. We have farmers. We have some outstanding farmers, who have contributed, massively to the development of the agricultural sector now, which is the emerging area, and in the services area. Let us see how we can utilize those talents to frame works, to frame activities, to do mentorship. So we talk about arts and culture. We have a tremendous reservoir of person with talent, huge talent in the visual and performing arts in Dominica. How do we utilize those talents to bring it into the school system? Because that's one of the things that we talk about on Wednesday night, the mentorship coming into the school, So we still have Raymond Lawrence, we still have Lennox Valley Church, we still have Gordon Henderson, and Gregory Rabbits, unfortunately, is not so well these days, but he has his material is still there we can utilize and so on. So that is an area of strength from the St. Mary's Academy. But are we utilizing it to the effect, to what we desire? To see more Gordon Henderson, more Shelley, and so on. So I just throw some of these ideas as a way for us to move forward.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, here's what I thought while you were speaking of. Oh, sorry. I do have to make a note because I want to see.
It's not a question. It's not a question I had, but I wanted to make a request. And this is really, really important to me. Let's maintain the all-boys SMA. The minute I think we start integrating the other sexes, distraction starts setting in. That's all my wish.
Okay. All right, so based on what Sobers was saying, here's what came to mind. So you talk about integrating people of excellence here who will be next SMA students, right, into teaching or mentoring and so on. So I think there needs to be an organization that's a bridge between the two. So, we can't expect the principal to go out and find those people. We have to be the ones to identify them and bring them to her. She got enough on her plate already. So I think, that bridge organization would be. Yeah. All right. So don't try to put more stuff on a plate. You know what I'm saying? All right. Any other questions? Collaboration. That word came up again. Remember, Rose LaRock mentioned that about 3 or 4 times. She mentioned that about 3 or 4 times. Not only in terms of collaborating in the classroom, but it extends to the work environment too. If you can work with people, I'm telling you now, if you can't work with people, you'll accomplish things that can fit in this room. If you can work with people, you'll accomplish things that fit in the world. You know what I mean? So I just want to, all right, let me just, okay, so guys, thank you so much for coming. I think this discussion was, what are we doing? Oh, you wanted to say something? Oh. Sorry.
I'm just concerned about implementing that mentorship program during this academic year.
This
This academic year.
No, it's an ongoing process.
This summer, just to make sure we have it during this academic year.
Oh, he's trying to speed it up.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to speed it up. Yeah. Man of what SMA? What the smart man of action? It took the Oh, okay. So, all right. So tonight, don't forget we have the Old Boys concert. Linford has been spearheading efforts. Sobers involved in it too, very directly. So tonight, what time does it start, Alvin? 7 p.m. at the St. Gerard's Hall. We want everybody to come. Let's overflow the room. Students, alumni, Dominicans. I spoke to a number of people actually who said they're going to come. So tonight's going to be the lime of the week. We're gonna have a lot of opportunity to meet people we've gone to school with. So it's going to be a great evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. There are some refreshments at the back. And don't forget, yes, we'll say that, Madam Principal. She's saying they've put a tremendous effort in making drinks available at the event. So please support the bar. If you don't drink like me, you can just donate. Thank you very much, everyone. We'd like to thank Kyrie, not Kyrie, sorry, Q95 and DNO. Thank you so much for supporting this event. We really appreciate it, and good that we could get the word out to people, as many people as possible. So thank you very much, everyone.